Frankly, I'm less impressed with more trees downtown, and that because I think it eventually grows and blocks out the visibility to the retailers. I'd be a lot more impressed with heated sidewalks, which I've seen in a few places. But as one who's tried to get across the street through the snowbanks and have wet shoes and wet socks and a few other things, I would rather see heated sidewalks with good drains. And so we're not slipping and sliding when we're going to those lunch places or breakfast places. And I think it'd be a much more practical use that for $5 or $10 a square foot of sidewalk area could be accomplished.
In order to move forward with this very interesting plan and all these investments, I think it's important for BCU to acknowledge some of the failures recently. There have been many of them over the last 2 years. Some of them are individual problems, some related to the economy, but there have been a number of two steps back for every step forward type of situations. We've had the bakery, we've had the comedy club, we've had several retailers, we've had the big restaurant downtown that used to have jazz music. We've had some failures, and I think that in order to be more successful in the future, we're going to need to learn from those failures, whether they're collective failures, individual failures, whatever caused them. And I don't see that being addressed tonight openly.
I'd like to just respond briefly. Some of the businesses that you mentioned did receive considerable assistance, and we definitely need to reevaluate some of the assistance that we've provided and generally look at making sure businesses where we are investing or providing incentives or certain types of services, that we are investing in good business plans and models that are going to be sustainable in Battle Creek's in our region, and look at market-based decisions. Mass is also going to be a very component of that can bring great spending power to downtown, and we certainly hope our experience is going to be much better than it has been in what's been a difficult economy for the last 2 years.
My name is Harry Conway Jr., and I've been working in downtown Battle Creek for 36 years, and I've got some comments about what's been discussed that are rather controversial, but I just gotta express myself in this regard. I think the concept of making downtown Battle Creek into a retail center is outmoded. It's a horse and buggy concept. Downtowns were made in the 1850s, 1870s, something like this. And to wish that the downtown would return, the amount of retail activity would resemble that of the way it was, let's say, in 1948 or 1950 is completely unrealistic. The focus of retail now is in the suburban, like around Harper, right off Beckley Road or Columbia Avenue.
That's good information. A couple of points I'd like to make. I have to agree with the gentleman that just spoke in many ways. Downtown redevelopment seems like a old horse kind of an idea. At the same time, I'm also a huge proponent of the idea of sustainability. And I think that a downtown development very clearly helps for business and community sustainability issues particularly. And I actually came up here to ask whether or not someone with some sustainable business acumen has looked at the plans for the downtown development.
I agree as well that downtown is not going to be necessarily a center of retail that's going to compete with the big box retail that we see along Beckley Road, and that will not be a part of our strategy. We envision that there needs to be entertainment, like nightlife opportunities potentially, if we have a concentration of people that we can get out of the buildings and keep them here. And if we have more infrequent events that bring people down, not necessarily festivals, but we've seen a high level of success with the fall into the arts and the spring into the arts programs, and we'd like to see more events like that bring people down. But we need to have also entertainment, restaurants, and possibly specialty retail and support service retail that might cater to a large employer concentration here, but there's definitely not going to be big box retail contemplated in the downtown.
I have to make a comment about the trees because that's part of what I do is tree work, and I have to agree with that gentleman that I don't think trees downtown are necessarily a great idea. There's a cost involved, there's the health of the trees. Invariably, they don't do very well, especially if they're monoplanted. And I think that money would be better spent, indeed, with an underground heated pavement system, which is very environmentally friendly, as a matter of fact, very sustainable, and of major benefit to the retailers that come downtown.
But having been on Michigan Avenue for 98 years, and myself for 38 years at the company, one of the big problems is with the creation of a retail corridor about 4 miles south of Battle Creek is density. And one of the things that could help immensely, and I know I've spoken with several of you about it before, is as you're developing these different divisions within the food safety system, if we could utilize some of the vacant buildings that are on Michigan Avenue and incorporate Michigan Avenue into the campus, that it will allow the employee density to be also on the street, and not put cafeterias in those buildings, that would make them familiar with the retailers and with the eateries that are downtown.
People's hearts are where they live. And that should be a guiding philosophy. It's absolutely wonderful to bring all of these things into Battle Creek, but if nobody lives here, it doesn't do any good. And I'm going to make a bold statement, and I don't want to offend anybody, but this is the heart of the matter and the heart of the problem that we have here in Battle Creek. If you just work in Battle Creek, you don't help Battle Creek, because you don't spend the rest of your money here in Battle Creek. You don't go out to eat here in Battle Creek. You don't shop here in Battle Creek. You don't do anything else here in Battle Creek. And you might work here, but that doesn't really help us as a community. So my first question is, are you going to encourage all of these things coming to Battle Creek? Are you going to encourage them to live in Battle Creek? Because if you don't, we're just a way station along the road's life. Okay?
David Nielsen. I am chairman of the Verona-McKinley-Fremont Neighborhood Planning Council, which is in great part an area in that north side that is adjacent to downtown. So we have great concern about downtown development and the development of the area adjacent to downtown. Several years ago, Battle Creek hired a consulting firm, I think out of Virginia, to come in and do kind of a needs and wants assessment of downtown. Met at the Kellogg Foundation headquarters and asked people what they wanted in downtown. And we provided a tremendous laundry list. They came back a while later and gave their report. And virtually nothing that was mentioned in that laundry list was included in their report.
And I'd like to see you not move that math science building down to the Kellogg's show place downtown by the river. You ought to make that place into a movie theater. Something, that'd be a place that a lot of people like to come to.